How many more times is Dan Quinn gonna mess with our emotions? How long are we supposed to wait to see our best receiver back on the field? Because let me tell you something, this isn't just about an injury anymore. This is a pattern that's slowly wrecking our season. While Terry McLaurin is still stretching on the sideline without playing a single snap, our second-round safety is handing out touchdowns like candy on Halloween. Meanwhile, a rookie who might be the missing piece sits on the bench watching us lose winnable games. This week against Dallas isn't just another game. It's the moment to prove we can compete even without our stars. But to make that happen, we need answers, we need solutions, and more than anything, we need someone in that organization to start making smart calls. Stick around till the end, because what I'm about to reveal about our current situation will leave you speechless. Let me ask you something. Do you remember when Dan Quinn said Terry McLaurin was gonna practice all week? Do you remember that confidence he gave us on Monday? Because I sure do. And guess what happened next? The exact same thing that's happened for the last 3 weeks. Terry stretched a bit, jogged lightly, and by Friday, boom, ruled out again. For straight games without our all-pro receiver. For straight weeks of false hope. Now, with all due respect to Coach Quinn, this has got to stop. You can't get up there every Monday telling the fans that Terry's gonna be ready, that he's practicing, that there's optimism, and then scrap him by the end of the week. Do you know what that does? It builds frustration. It erodes trust. And most importantly, it sets expectations that never get met. So here's the question. Why didn't they just put Terry on injured reserve from the start? Because Quinn wanted to give him a legit shot to come back quickly. That's admirable. It shows a coach who believes in his players. But when that belief turns into mixed messages week after week, that's a serious problem. Here's the reality. Terry's quad and hip issues are clearly worse than the team wants to admit publicly. Meanwhile, Noah Brown finally went on IR, something that should have happened weeks ago. Deebo Samuel is questionable for Sunday. You know what that means? We're heading into the Cowboys game with rookies, practice squad receivers, and guys barely familiar with Cliff Kingsbury's system. There's a disconnect between Quinn, the medical staff, and Terry himself. Either the coach doesn't get how serious this injury is, or Terry is pushing too hard to return early, or the doctors aren't being totally upfront about his recovery timeline. And any of those 3 scenarios is a red flag. Terry McLaurin has been as dependable as they come since entering the league back in 2019. He's never had a major injury. That's what makes this so frustrating. We all know what he brings when he's healthy. He's the engine of this offense. Jaden Daniels needs him now more than ever in this crucial stretch of the season. But here's the truth. Adam Peters saw this coming months ago. Remember that long off-season standoff with Terry? Remember how Peters held firm and didn't just meet all his demands? Now we know why. Peters understood that in today's NFL, you can't lock up that much cap space in a wide receiver who's turning 30, especially if there are long-term durability concerns. And here's the bigger question. How long will it take for Terry to get back to full game shape? Practicing again is one thing. Game speed after missing a month is entirely different. Muscles weaken, timing with your quarterback fades, confidence in your body drops. It's not like flipping a switch. Quinn needs to start being more careful when he talks to the media about Terry's availability. It might feel like a minor thing, but when you tell millions of fans that your star player's gonna be ready and he's not, that damages credibility. And right now, sitting at 3-3 with a brutal schedule ahead, this team can't afford to lose trust on top of games. I think the organization is trying to stay positive in public while privately knowing Terry just isn't ready. They want to protect morale, keep fans calm. But Commanders fans aren't stupid. We've watched enough football to know when something's not adding up, and this definitely isn't. The most frustrating thing? We're heading into this game against Dallas, our most hated rival, without our best receiver. The Cowboys are banged up. Their secondary's a mess. Dak Prescott's struggling. This should have been the perfect time to attack their weaknesses. But with no Terry, no Noah, and maybe no Deebo, how are we supposed to take advantage of that? Somebody's gotta step up. Because after 6 weeks, the biggest lesson we've learned is clear. This team desperately needs playmakers. Guys who can separate. Guys who can win one-on-ones. Guys who can make big plays when the moment calls for it. Now let's talk about something that's really worrying me, the Quan Martin situation. This dude was a second-round pick, drafted to be a versatile defender, deep safety, slot, even corner. A hybrid weapon meant to give offensive coordinators nightmares. But right now, he's giving us nightmares instead. Take Monday night against Chicago. Fourth quarter, game hanging in the balance. D'Andre Swift gets the ball. QUINN Martin has the perfect angle to make the stop. Should have been a short gain. What does he do? Hesitates. Doesn't commit. Doesn't wrap up. Swift breaks loose for a 55-yard touchdown that basically sealed our loss. 55 yards. That cannot happen. QUINN even admitted afterward that it was a play he's made 100 times in his career. He prides himself on tackling. But pride doesn't mean a thing if you can't perform when the lights are brightest. And right now, QUINN Martin just isn't performing. The stats tell the story for missed tackles this year. 136 yards allowed after the catch. Just 22 fewer than all of last season. We're 6 weeks in and he's almost replicated last year's mistakes already. What happened to the player we saw before? Where's that edge, that discipline, that confidence? Because right now, he's playing scared, second-guessing himself. And in the NFL, hesitation gets you beat every single time, and tackling isn't the only issue. He's getting torched in coverage too. 22.3 yards per catch allowed. A passer rating of 128 to when targeted. Those numbers are flat out brutal. What's worse is that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. brought him here to solve matchup problems. The kind of player who could line up against tight ends, explosive backs, or slot receivers and keep defenses flexible. But that versatility we were promised? It's nowhere to be seen. Remember when we let Jeremy Chinn walk in free agency? That move only made sense if QUINN Martin could do everything Chinn did and more. But it sure doesn't look that way right now. We lost a dependable vet and replaced him with someone still finding his footing under pressure. Safeties in the NFL are supposed to be tone setters, sure tacklers, last line of defense, physical at the point of contact. QUINN's doing none of those things consistently, and to be fair, maybe the coaches are asking too much from him. Moving him all over the field, switching roles week to week, that's a lot for a young player. Maybe it's time to simplify things. Let him lock in on one role and build from there. But here's the million-dollar question. Can he bounce back? Can QUINN Martin turn it around and become the player we all expected when he got drafted? Because if he can't, then our secondary's in serious trouble, and smart teams are gonna keep picking at that wound over and over. Speaking of that, guess who's rolling into town Sunday? The Dallas Cowboys. And while their offense hasn't been elite this year, they've got plenty of talent to go after a shaky safety. CeeDee Lamb can burn him in the slot, Rico Dowdle can make him miss in space, and Dak Prescott can shred him in zone coverage. So here's the deal, unless QUINN Martin improves, and fast, this team's got to start giving snaps to someone else. Percy Butler has flash potential. Derek Forrest knows the scheme. We can't keep putting someone out there who's costing us games with inconsistency. The Commanders' defense overall has been solid, generating pressure, getting takeaways, making key stops. But QUINN Martin is the weak link. And in the NFL, good teams find weak links and hammer them till they break. Now let's flip the script to something that's both exciting and maddening. Jaylen Lane. This fourth-round rookie might have all the tools to change our offense. Yet he's barely seeing the field, and heading into a matchup where we'll be without our top receivers. He could be exactly what we need. Look at Lane's numbers so far. 7 catches on 14 targets. 0 receiving touchdowns. On paper, that doesn't jump out. But numbers don't tell the full story here, not even close. Want to know what kind of player Lane is? He's already taken a punt to the house. He's made spark plays that flipped entire games. His burst is ridiculous, like he's shot out of a cannon. And his play style? Think Deebo Samuel, physical, breaks tackles, turns short passes into chunk gains. Here's the frustrating part. He hasn't played more than 40% of offensive snaps in any game this season. Not one. Even with Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown sidelined, he's still barely getting touches. Why? What exactly does Chris Moore bring that Lane doesn't? Moore had a solid outing against Chicago, sure, but let's be real, Lane's got game-breaking speed. The kind of explosiveness you can't coach. Moore's got experience. Lane's got electricity. And don't get me wrong, Luke McCaffrey's been great this year. Deep threat. Smooth routes, reliable hands. But he's not a volume receiver. He's a complementary piece, not the centerpiece. Now here we are, heading into Dallas without Terry, without Noah, maybe without Deebo. Zach Ertz is steady, but at 34 he's not scaring anyone. Corey Brooks is a rookie who's barely played. Treylon Burks just got here, doesn't even know the full playbook. And we're still limiting Jaylen Lane. Seriously? Jayden Daniels already trusts Lane, you can see it. They've used him on gadget plays, jet sweeps, motions, and deep shots. The problem isn't trust, it's opportunity. It's volume. The kid just needs more chances. And this matchup couldn't be more perfect. The Cowboys secondary has been a train wreck. Darren Bland, Trevin Diggs, Donovan Wilson. They've all been torched this year. They've allowed 371 passing yards per game at home. 371. That's historically bad. They lost veteran DB coach Al Harris to Chicago in the offseason. And it shows. The remaining group has no discipline, no eye control, no cohesion. That secondary is begging to be attacked. So who better to attack it than a catch-and-run dynamo like Jaylen Lane? A guy who can break one tackle and turn a short gain into a 20-yard highlight. This matchup screams for him. The Cowboys have given up explosive plays to receivers way less dynamic than Lane, missed tackles, busted coverages, you name it. And we've got one of the most explosive rookies in the league sitting right there on the bench. Why not let him loose? We don't need to feed Lane 10 targets. Sometimes all it takes is one play. One broken tackle can flip an entire drive, maybe even the whole game. So why not take that shot? In a divisional showdown with everything on the line, Jayden Daniels is going to lean on players he trusts to make something out of nothing. And right now, Jaylen Lane isn't just next up. He might be the spark that changes everything. Dallas can't tackle an open space. Lane eats up space. Dallas struggles defending crossing routes. Lane lives on those plays. Dallas can't handle twitchy receivers underneath. Lane is as twitchy as it gets. I honestly think this week, Cliff Kingsbury finally unleashes Jaylen Lane, not just as a motion decoy or a gadget option, but as a legit weapon in the passing game. Because if he doesn't, if this coaching staff keeps holding him back, we'll regret it when we're reviewing that game tape Monday morning. My prediction? Jaylen Lane breaks out this Sunday. He's gonna make that play. The one everyone remembers when we talk about how we took down Dallas without our top stars. The talent's there. The opportunity's there. The matchup couldn't be better. All he needs is the chance. Let's recap what we've covered. 1. Dan Quinn keeps toying with our emotions about Terry McLaurin, feeding us false hope week after week while our top receiver sits out. 2. Quan Martin, our supposed second-round game changer, is sinking under pressure with missed tackles and blown coverages. And 3. Jaylen Lane, the explosive rookie who might be exactly what we need versus this broken Dallas secondary, is sitting on the sideline for no good reason. Now let me ask you, Commanders family, what do you think about all this? Should Quinn be more transparent about Terry's timeline? Can Quan Martin turn it around, or is it time to shake up the secondary? And do you agree Jaylen Lane deserves a bigger role, especially in this game against Dallas? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear from the Commanders Nation. Are you as frustrated as I am about Terry's situation? Worried about the defense? Hyped about Lane's potential? And if you're vibing with this analysis, if you feel like you're finally hearing the unfiltered truth about our team, then do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're dropping exclusive breakdowns and real talk every single day. The kind of content you won't find anywhere else. We're a family here. We bleed burgundy and gold. We hurt together in losses. We celebrate together in wins. So I need you all to stay engaged, comment, share, interact, because together, we're stronger. This Sunday, we're heading to Dallas. It's gonna be a battle, a divisional war where every snap matters. And yeah, we're short-handed. We've got injuries, and most people already counted us out. But I still believe in this team. I believe in Jayden Daniels. I believe in our defense. And I believe we can shock everyone, but it's gonna take every single player stepping up. Quan Martin has to find his confidence again. Jaylen Lane's gotta seize his moment. And the coaching staff has to make the right calls when it counts most. Stay tuned. Because right after Sunday's game, we'll be right back here breaking down every play, every decision, every turning point. You won't want to miss it. And remember, hail to the Redskins.